A very warm welcome to all of you. Myself, Professor Nagare SS from KJ Somya College, Kopargaon. In today's lecture, we are going to take the new concept from the chapter first, electrochemical cell. It is the lecture number 7, in which we are going to study the two important concepts. First is classification of electrochemical cells, and the second one is applications of EMF measurements. Before starting the actual lecture, please subscribe my YouTube channel and press the bell icon in order to get the notification for the upcoming video lectures on important topics. So let's start this lecture. We know very well the electrochemical cells, the cells in which the output of that particular cell is nothing but the generation of the electrical energy on the basis of some chemical reactions. Now we are interested to study the classification of these electrochemical cells. These electrochemical cells are broadly classified into two types. The first one is chemical cells and second one is concentration cells. So the first cell, that is chemical cell, in these electrochemical cells, free energy of cell reaction is converted into a electrical energy. So we can say that the electrical energy is generated on the basis of conversion of this free energy into the electrical energy. The second type is concentration cells. In these electrochemical cells, electrical energy can be generated due to transfer of material from one half cell to another half cell on the basis of difference either in electrode composition or concentration of electrolytes. This is the second type of electrochemical cell. In this cell also, the output of this cell is a generation of electrical energy. This electrical energy can be generated due to the actual transfer of material from one half cell to the another half cell. Now, whenever this type of the transfer of material can be takes place, this transfer is possible under the two different conditions. One is the difference in terms of electrode composition or difference in terms of concentration of electrolytes. This is the second important type of the electrochemical cell called as the concentration cells. Now, after studying these two important classes of electrochemical cells, further we have to look towards how these electrochemical cells are classified on the basis of presence or absence of transference, that is on the basis of presence or absence of this type of the liquid junctions, how these electrochemical cells can be classified. So that is our next point. Now, as far as this classification of electrochemical cells on the basis of presence or absence of transference is considered, this classification is shown in this type of the tree diagram. In this, the electrochemical cells are broadly classified into two types: chemical cells, concentration cells. Further, these chemical cells can be further classified into two types: chemical cells without transference, chemical cell with transference. In a similar way, these concentration cells can be classified into two types: concentration cells without transference and concentration cells with transference. And at the last, these concentration cells without transference are further classified into two important classes. The first one is the concentration cell without transference, in which electrode concentration cell is a without transference. This is a electrode concentration cell without transference, and in this case it is a electrolyte concentration cell without transference. Means we can say that in this case electrode concentration we have to take into consideration, while in this case it is a electrolyte concentration we have to take into consideration. So this is the important classes of this type of electrochemical cells. Now, this is in a short, we can focus on the different examples, that is examples of different type of cells under this type of four categories. The first important one is chemical cell without transference. When you such a type of the chemicals, electrochemical cells are there, what are the important examples? So these examples are given here. The first example is the hydrogen gas electrode. In this platinum vertical line H2 in a gaseous state having a pressure of 1 atmosphere, vertical line HCl as electrolyte solution having the activity of ions is equal to 1, comma silver chloride in the solid state, vertical line silver. The second example is of cadmium electrode immersed in a cadmium sulfate solution having the activity of ions equal to 1. The second electrolytic solution is Hg2SO4 in solid state, vertical line Hg. So these cells are chemical cells without transference. The second important type is chemical cell with transference. These two important examples are given here of the cell. First one is zinc, vertical line zinc 2 plus. Now here is a transference is there, vertical line, that's why it is a zinc 2 plus and cadmium 2 plus. That is, we can say that it may be the zinc sulfate, this is a cadmium sulfate. These two are separated by a vertical line, and at the last cadmium 2 plus vertical line cadmium. So this is a important example of chemical cell with transference. Second one example is Hg, vertical line Hg2Cl2 in a solid state, comma KCl having the concentration of 1 normal, vertical line copper 2 plus vertical line copper. These are the two important examples of chemical cell with transference. The third type of the cell is concentration cell without transference. For this purpose, we again consider here hydrogen gas electrode is H2 having a pressure of H2, we can take here as a P1, vertical line H1 having the concentration of H plus is this is the activity of this H plus ion, vertical line H2. We have to take here the second pressure of this hydrogen gas as a PH2, consider it as a P2. So this is a concentration cell without transference, and the last one type is a concentration cell with transference. And the simple example is, take here again hydrogen gas electrode H2 gas having 1 atmospheric pressure, vertical line HCl, that is an electrolytic solution having the activity of ions as A1, again vertical line HCl having the activity of ions as A2, vertical line H2, that is a gaseous in state having a pressure of 1 atmosphere. And the second important example is of silver electrode, silver vertical line Ag plus, activity is A1, vertical line Ag plus with activity A2, vertical line Ag. So this is in a short we can focus upon the examples of different type of cells. There is a 4 different type of the cells. So in a short we can focus on these type of the different examples. Now after studying these type of the classification of electrochemical cells, the next important topic which we have to study now is nothing but the applications of EMF measurement. How this EMF measurement is helpful for studying the different aspects. So in that case, these EMF measurements having some important applications. These 3 important applications are given here. The first important application is solubility product of sparingly soluble salts. The second one is potentiometric determination of pH, and the third one is potentiometric titrations. So these 3 important applications we have to study one by one. So the first application of this EMF measurement is solubility product of sparingly soluble salt. Whenever a salt is a sparingly soluble salt, in that case, how to judge its solubility with the help of the solubility product, so that we have to study in this application. Now in this application, we have to consider here a sparingly soluble salt as Mx. In a solid state, it is a sparingly soluble salt. So if we consider its ionization, it gives M plus in aqueous state plus X minus in aqueous state. So this is a equilibrium between a sparingly soluble salt to that of the ions. They are in an equilibrium. So we can interested to calculate its solubility product constant. So it is given by Ksp is equal to a product of Am plus into Ax minus. So with the help of this we can calculate here solubility product constant. Now this solubility product constant under specified conditions it should be related to potential of the cell in which the above reaction takes place. So this solubility product constant is related to that of the potential of the cell. For the construction of a cell, two electrodes, one reversible to cation and other to the anion of the salt are selected, and these two are coupled in a suitable manner. Such a cell can be represented as below. We know very well the construction of a cell. For this purpose, we have to take the two different electrodes. One must be reversible to the cation and second must be reversible to the anion. So a general cell representation is given here. M vertical line Mx in a solid state, it is in equilibrium with M plus in an aqueous state plus X minus in an aqueous state, vertical line M dash. Now if we consider these cell having the two different type of the reactions, one is the oxidation half cell reaction and second one is the reduction half cell reaction. These are given here. If we consider both these half cell reactions, by using that we may write here the overall cell reaction, and that is nothing but Mx in a solid state, it gives M plus in the aqueous state into X minus, and for this cell reaction we may calculate here the cell potential as standard cell potential is equal to a summation of standard potential of left hand electrode plus standard potential of right hand electrode. At equilibrium, since the EMF of the cell is 0, we know very well that at equilibrium the EMF of the cell is equal to 0, and that's why under such a situation the cell potential is equal to standard cell potential minus RT upon NF ln of activity of M plus into activity of X minus is equal to 0. That is nothing but the cell potential is equal to standard cell potential minus RT upon NF. Now instead of this ln activity of M plus into activity of X minus, we know very well we can take here the solubility product constant. That's why it is multiplied by ln of solubility product constant total equal to 0. That is the RT upon NF ln Ksp is equal to standard cell potential. So by rearranging this equation, we may write here ln Ksp is equal to NF into standard cell potential divided by RT. So by using this type of the simple equation, the solubility product constant of sparingly soluble salt can be calculated easily. So this is the first important applications of the EMF measurement, in which if we have a sparingly soluble salt, then its solubility product constant can be easily calculated by taking into consideration the cell potential. So this is the first important application. The second important application of this EMF measurement is nothing but the potentiometric determination of pH. We know very well the definition of pH that is given by the Sorensen, that is nothing but the pH of the solution is negative logarithm of hydrogen ion concentration expressed in molarity. This is our regular definition of this type of the pH given by the Sorensen. But now if we consider now the operational definition of pH, if we take into consideration the operational definition of pH, that is the modern definition of pH is operational one and is based on standardization procedure. According to the US National Bureau of Standards, that is NBS, the pH difference between the two solutions, standard and an unknown at the same temperature with the same reference electrode, is given by. So this second definition is the operational one, that is given by taking into consideration the pH difference between the two solutions. One is a standard solution and second is a unknown at the same temperature with that of the some reference electrode. That is given by equation pH of unknown solution minus pH of standard solution is equal to Ax minus, that is a potential of X minus potential of standard, divided by 2.303 divided by F, where this Ex and E standard are the EMF of unknown and standard solutions respectively. When the standard is 0.05 molar potassium hydrogen thalate, the pH at any temperature is given by, under this situation, the pH is given by pH is equal to 4 plus 1 by 2 T minus 15 square divided by 100 at a situation if temperature is equal to 0 degree centigrade to 55 degree centigrade. This is the first definition of this type of the pH. In a second way, the pH is generally measured with a glass electrode and a pH meter. A cell can be represented as. If you want to measure the pH of a particular solution, it can be measured with the help of the pH meter. In that case, a glass electrode is to be used, that having a cell as glass electrode vertical line H plus, double vertical line standard calomel electrode, and in this situation the cell potential is given as potential of standard calomel electrode plus liquid junction potential, that is EJ, minus potential standard cell potential for glass electrode minus 0.0059 log of concentration of pH plus, where EJ is a liquid junction potential and EG is standard glass electrode potential. So cell potential is equal to standard cell potential minus 0.059 log of activity of pH plus. That is, finally we get here the pH is equal to cell potential minus standard cell potential divided by 0.059 at 25 degree centigrade. So this is the second important applications of EMF measurement, that with the help of cell potential value and standard cell potential we can easily calculate the pH of the particular solution at the given temperature. The last important application of this EMF measurement is nothing but the potentiometric titrations. Now, in these potentiometric titrations, these titrations are very much important. These potentiometric titrations are the most accurate type of titration, since the potential follows the actual change in the activity, and therefore the end point will be often coincide with the equivalence point. In this case, what happens? This actual change in activity can be takes place, and that's why these are often coincide with their equivalent point. These are more sensitive than the visual indicator titrations and are often employed for dilute solutions. These titrations are so much sensitive than our regular indicator titrations, and therefore they are commonly used for the dilute solutions. In these titrations, the change in the potential of indicator electrode upon addition of the titrant are noted against the volume of titrant added. At the end of equivalence point, the rate of a change of potential is maximum, and the point can be found by plotting a curve of potential versus the volume of the titrant. A large potential break occurs at the equivalent point. Since we are interested only in the potential change, the absolute potential of the indicator electrode need not be known. So in these potentiometric titrations, we have to take into consideration the change in the potential, and by taking into consideration the equivalence point, the rate of change of potential is maximum, and the point can be highlighted by one graph or one curve we have to plot here, that is the potential versus the volume of the titrant. By using that, we can study the potential break at a particular equivalence point. So this is the last important applications of this type of the EMF measurement. So in this lecture, we focus on the two important points. The first one is the classification of the electrochemical cells, and the second one is applications of EMF measurement. So with this, I stop here in this current lecture. Remaining points we will take in a next lecture. Thank you so much.